everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Rich the Fixer, and just showing you a few things that I've been working on. I've been working on a lot of digital mixers. Doesn't matter what brand, Soundcraft, the Behringer, the Mackie. I've had a few of them that I worked on and sold them. But I've been mainly focusing on the Behringer x32 because it's a bigger console, has a lot more boards, and yeah, I like to repair it. It's very good. So this is just one of the many mixers that I've worked on. Don't mind how my little studio looks. This right here is a Soundcraft that I worked on. It is working. This one I've worked on it. Bought this totally dismantled. Had a lot of parts missing, so I just use it as my my studio mixer at the moment. And over here, in this bag here, I keep all of my boards. I never ever throw away a board because all of these mixers I've repaired, I've been using parts from these boards, whether it's going to be a switch, whatever is going to be on the board. I really enjoy working on it. I think the first time I started working on this type of mixer, I didn't know what I was doing, but I lifted up and just started figuring out how it works. Just works like a computer, and the rest is history. I buy them online, fix them, and I flip them. I sell them to make a profit, and I've repaired quite a few of them. So today I'm just going to show you one of the repairs I did on one of the Behringer x32. Alright, stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Now today we're going to be working on a Behringer x32 digital console. It had some blinking lights in the middle section here, and then everything just went out. No screen coming up, nothing like that. Now this is a 32 input channel mixer board, very sophisticated and very good. Now today we're going to try to repair it. Now I have taken most of the boards apart. If you look on the right side here, I have the output and the input boards. So the smaller ones, they're the output boards, and the bigger ones are the input boards, and these can be separated from the unit while you're trying to fix it, so you don't have to put the mixer all back together in order to get it fixed. Right now we suspect that this is going to be a motherboard or the processing board, because sometimes the processing board, it goes. Now the processing board, it comes with a SD card. From time to time, these SD cards, they can just get corrupted, and sometimes you just reinstall one and do it all over again. Now as you can see on the inside, this is beautiful. Look at these boards. Wow, there's so many boards. Now you have to be very, very careful and extra cautious when working on this board, because you have a lot of ribbon cables that you have to interact with, and most of these cables, they're zip ties. Now, and these boards, they're very delicate, so you don't want to destroy anything, because if you destroy any of these ribbon cables, then voila, you're gonna have to buy some cables. Now, so we have the slot over there on that main board for the processing board. The processing board only goes one way in, so you can't mess it up any at all. There's a hole that's on the processor that's aligned with a hole that's on the main board. So you just have to be extra careful when putting in the pins, because at times the pins, they can get bent, and once they're bent and they're outside of that circuitry, then this board is not going to power up any at all. So see, I'm just trying to take my time to put the board in, because I don't want to have to buy another processing board. Not at all. Right, so we're trying to fit this board in the slot, and then we're going to connect a few cables and then see how it works. Now most of
these cables, the input and output cables, you can forget about them. You need to connect the LCD cable that comes from the screen, and connect the fader cable that goes to the power supply. And the power supply is already labeled, so you don't have to worry about mixing up the wires or anything like that, because everything comes actually labeled. There's a yeah, so you just basically need to have those wires. You don't need to put back all the wires, because most of those they're not functional at this moment. All we need to do is to make sure that when we plug the mixer in, it boots up and the screen comes alive. We don't need anything. So let's see what happens. So I am going to put some power to this mixer, and make sure that you double check your connections and stuff like that. So I'm just looking at a second time to make sure I connected the right cables, because sometimes you can just going too fast and you just miss something. So I'm just double checking to make sure that I have all the cables connected, and then see how it goes. So let's try to power it on and see what happens from there. So this is what is happening now. So I just turn the power button on. See, I have a flashing light in the middle. Alright, I see the X32 logo. Looks like something is going on here. But I'm having some codes on the screen though. So I realize that the faders didn't come up, but the screen is up. So it means that something is not totally right there. So we're gonna double check to see if we left any cables on, because once the screen is up, it tells me that that the processor and the main board is good. So let's see exactly what happens again. Okay, on the screen it says can't load files. So if you think about your computer, sometimes the files are missing, then you're gonna have problems in it, the whole system booting up, but it's the screen that comes on. So we're gonna just turn it off and go back to the drawing board. Right, so while looking and searching, I realized that there was a cable that was unplugged. One of those cables, which I thought was an output cable, but it wasn't an output cable. It's a cable that connects to a board that actually does the loading. So let's go through and see if I can find that cable. Plug that cable in, and let's see if the board will come up, because most of the time, as I stated before, you don't have to worry about putting everything, but there's some essential cables that are needed. Alright, so we have found that cable. It's now plugged up. Alright, and now all of these ribbon cables are for the input and output, so we don't need to worry about them any at all, and the slots are empty, so we don't need to worry about them. Alright, so let's power it up again and see what happens. See if we want the jock pad or jock pot. Alright, so the power is up. Alright, it's loading. And let's see exactly what's gonna happen this time. Now it's giving a different sign. Alright, so the screen is up and all the faders are up. Right, so we got it. So replacing the processing board was exactly what was wrong with the mixer. Now I'm just checking all the channels to make sure all the buttons are working. The mute buttons, fader buttons, those buttons on the LCD. Just checking to make sure all of these buttons are okay. Yes, and as we see all of these are working at the moment. So majority of the time when you have, especially the X32 full console, whenever it goes down, it's 100% of the time either the main control board or the processing board or the SD card that gets corrupt.